everyone, and welcome back to Banjo Tooie on the Nintendo 64. I am one wild sheep yet again, and today, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some mini games. Oh boy! I hope you all enjoy mini games. I hope you all are ready for us to do some pretty damn tubular, colored, coded action. You'll see what I mean when we actually get to the minigame. But anyway, before we actually get on with the minigames, it's time to talk to Boggy's kids here, and be sure to bring fries with you, because this girl will only go home to her mother if she eats some fries, because, I don't know, she's bloody kids and they're needing for food. But anyway, what we do need to do in this room, first things first, is actually utilize our splitter pads to gain access to that room once we blow it up with grenade eggs, because basically that's the pump room, and as we can tell, we need a pump in order to actually pump up the giant bouncy castle there, because inside the bouncy castle lies two minigames. One minigame for just Kazooie and one minigame for Banjo and Kazooie. And these splitter pads by here that we actually got hold of the move in the previous part, I believe, but this is one of the biggest, newest features for Banjo Tooie, which is there's going to be moments in this game where we're going to need to split up from Banjo and split up from Kazooie, split the two of them up so they can all do their own thing and they all have their own unique abilities that they can only access when the other one isn't around. As you can probably guess, Banjo's abilities all rely on his backpack. He's going to be using his backpack to do various things, and yeah, basically the first ability we get is the ability to attack, which doesn't sound all that great in the grand scheme of things, but as you can tell, I performed a double jump. There's a little glitch in the way the game works, so if you perform the attack button while in the air with Banjo, you can actually do a secondary jump. And it can't really be used to sequence break too much, but I do use it a lot in order to, basically in order to be able to get to areas a little bit quicker, you know. It's not really useful for sequence breaking and breaking the game apart, but it is very useful just to speed things up, because Banjo's high jump is slow as hell, so giving Banjo that double jump ability, which actually gives you a little bit more height than the high jump, is pretty damn fantastic if I do say so myself. But of course, we do need both of these to go into these into this pump house here and actually push the switches. And the switches all have their own logo on it, so only specific characters can press down the specific switches. We're gonna see more of the split up in action a bit later on in the playthrough, because it does become a massive prominent feature. But the big problem with splitting up is Banjo and Kazooie, apart from like that one attack I learned from Banjo, are pretty much defenseless, especially at the beginning where they have like no moves to defend themselves. They don't really have any abilities whatsoever, so there's not really much use for splitting them up at this point in the playthrough. But trust me, later down the line they're gonna have abilities that mean that you need to split up. But anyways, time for the very first mini-game of the game, ladies and gentlemen, at least I believe so. And, well, actually, except for obviously the football mini-game in, like, the first world. This here is the air shooting gallery, and basically all we need to do is fly around, aim, and shoot all of the balloons and try and get as high a point as possible. And this is the basic template for every minigame in the entire game from this point onwards, with maybe one or two exceptions. Basically, you're going to be trapped within a room or something, and you're going to have to do something in order to get points. And usually the points will be determined by the color of these objects. For example, if you boop a red object, you'll get 1 point. If you get a blue object, you get 3 points. And if you get a red object, you will get a measly 1 point. So, basically, the general gist of how to beat these minigames properly is basically to try and go for the greens and blues first. Then, as you're going towards the green and blue objects, you need to go for the red objects. And this is basically the template for every minigame past this point for the most part, you know? So, just keep that in mind, keep the red, green, blue in mind, and basically live it, learn it, love it, because we're going to be sticking with it for a long time. What can I tell you, ladies and gentlemen? But with that, that's basically it for this minigame. And one thing that's kind of weird about this room is they didn't code the floor. What do I mean by they didn't code the floor? I mean, I can't physically land. If you try to land on this floor, it won't happen. You'll just continuously float. It's kind of weird how there's no collision on the floor to make sure, hey, you got land now. I guess it's to make sure that you don't accidentally land and screw yourself over during the minigame, so I guess that makes sense, but I don't know. Anyway, it's time to move on and play as Kazooie only, because Kazooie only, she has her own minigame inside this bouncy castle too, and it's basically the exact same style, you know. Reds are the low priority, greens and blues are the high priority, but yeah, this time we need to jump through hoops, quite literally, so and it's mainly the gist, like the general idea behind the minigames will stay the same, but the objective will be different, so for example, instead of shooting down red, green and blue objects, we're running through red, green and blue objects, you know, it's going to be sort of like that from this point onwards. But, yeah, it's a very easy minigame. It's just, again, you used to the idea of the whole thing. You know, ladies and gentlemen, so just keep at it. As I said before, go to red and go to the green and blue hoops first, and just try and go through any reds that happen to be in your way as you're heading towards them. That's the best way to get through this minigame. You shouldn't have any trouble through this, especially if you pick up speed shoes in the center. This is easy peasy, lemon squeezy, mate. You know, ladies and gentlemen. And even as some of these hoops are fading out of existence, if you're quick enough, you can still get points from them, even if they're fading out. So technically, the hitbox doesn't disappear until they're disappeared entirely. You know, ladies and gentlemen. So you can use that to your advantage, I suppose, and try and get as much of these done as possible. But that was easy enough. Like I said, these are just introducing you to the idea of the minigames. These are basic concepts. We're gonna get minigames from this point all the way up until the end game now, ladies and gentlemen. So, hope you guys like colored-based challenges, because I know I do. What can I tells ya? What can I tells ya? Indeed. Yes. But anyway, I could have grabbed the Jiggy before going into the second minigame, but I wanted to grab both Jiggies pretty much at the same time, so I didn't waste too much of your guys' time. So let's just go back, grab Banjo, alley-oop, and I believe there's a jump pad around here to gain on the back of the bouncy castle. Boop! I feel really sorry for those guys who get whacked by Banjo at times. And he was just minding his own business, sitting there, and suddenly, boop, he's down, he's out. There we go. So just jump on up to here, grab the two Jiggies, and we're basically done with this area. I don't think there's anything new. Yeah, I think there's nothing else in this area we can deal with. But you might have seen a Jinjo there that I just ignored. Yep, that wasn't a Jinjo. That was a new enemy type called a Minjo. I don't know if the game has actually explained those to us yet, because my commentary isn't really keeping up with the gameplay, and I do apologize for that. But yeah, they are now Minjos, which look exactly like Jinjos. They sound exactly like Jinjos, but they are enemies, and they will try to bip you if you try to, if you try to collect them. So be a bit careful of them. They're gonna start propping up in levels from this point onwards, and they're a bit annoying. They are a bit annoying. I'll try and point out any Minjos that I do find along the way, and usually I'll blow them up with a grenade or something. So you guys will know which Jinjos to go for and which Jinjos aren't safe, but you know, it can catch some people off guard, and I know some people don't like the fact they put fake Jinjos in. Honestly, I don't mind. It's just I wish there was a bit more of an indicator to show that the Jinjos are fake. Like maybe give them a unique color, or maybe make it so that color is a little bit darker or something. I don't know. Of course, I do say that, but there is actually a way to find out if a Jinjo is real or fake, and that's because even though the Jinjo colors throughout the course of the game are randomized, they will only be randomized when you load the game up for the first time. Minjo colors are randomized every time you exit and re-enter an area. So basically, if you want to find out that a Minjo is whether one of these is a Jinjo or a Minjo, just leave and re-enter an area, and if they change color, it's a Minjo, blow it up. But if it didn't change color, if it's the same color as it was when you left the area and re-entered, then it's a Jinjo, so feel free to go and touch that bad boy. Yeah. It's a little bit of advice I give anyway. It helps things out, especially from this point onwards in the game, because this, you know, we're getting closer to the fourth world, the halfway point of the game, give or take now. So, you know, we're getting there slowly. The problem is with this game, it is quite a lengthy game, especially compared to Banjo Tooie 1, so I know some people are turned off by that. And you might have seen a fat kid right there, right by the lava pool. Just ignore him. Like, as I said previously, we can't really do much about him yet. We can go and feed him a hamburger right now, but we will not be able to get him to his mother until, like, way end game, pretty much, so... Well, maybe not end game, but after a couple of worlds, we won't be dealing with him until a couple of worlds' time. That's mainly what I'm getting at here. But anyway, Mumbo's major ability in this world is to turn things on. Woo! That's the best way I can put it. Woo, I guess. But basically, you do need to take Mumbo to these giant glowy generators in order to turn them off and on. Well, turn them on, not turn them off. Which will allow you to basically access new areas and access new rides. Like turning this one on, for example, it will basically enable the Sorcerer Apparel minigame that, well, basically haven't been able to tackle yet, which we will be able to tackle now. Yay! So be sure to get these out of the way. And you know, in theory, if you don't want to backtrack too much, I suppose you could like do all the Mumbo generator stuff later on in the playthrough, because yeah, technically they're optional, but well, I say technically they're optional, but you have a leeway of 20 jiggies to be able to beat this game. So you know, if you don't want to do all this backtracking and whatnot, you know, you could save it till later. I want to do it all right now because I like getting the worlds as 100% complete as I physically can before moving on. It's just my general shtick. But, you know, the option's there. That's one of the things I will always praise about Banjo Tooie over the original. There's options. Like, if you don't want to do something, you don't have to. You can go to a different world or a different area and do something else instead, you know? If you're having trouble on a particular challenge, skip it for a bit, you know? Unless, of course, you are going 100% and you'll have to beat it eventually, but... You know, you don't have to 100% this game, ladies and gentlemen. Mind it. I mean, I'm 100%ing it, but let's face it, I'm crazy. I mean, look at me. I'm talking to over video game footage for the internet. Of course, I'm crazy. But I digress. Anyway, we need to move into this Roomba here, and this one will probably. This is probably the one that most people will forget about, because I always forget about this room exists. But you do need to turn this generator on as well, because otherwise we'll not be able to get a jiggy in this room. And I recommend at least getting this one as Mumbo, because the jiggy in this room, it requires literally no effort at all on your part. All you need to do is be decent at platforming and you'll be able to get this easy peasy. Like, it looks challenging. It's not. Trust me on that. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about. I'm talking over video game footage for the internet. But yeah, basically this opens up a platforming challenge that Banjo and Kazooie can go through and basically get hold of a new jiggy. So that's a good thing, you know, ladies and gentlemen. Get the fuck away from me, you bloody Minjo. I don't like Minjos. I just expect one person on the YouTube comments now to go, that's racist. I'm like, screw you, I don't give a monkeys if it's racist. They're not real. Actually, watch now, Jinjos and Minjos are actually a real race of people, then they'll shut me up. But that's beside the point. As far as I'm aware, they're not real people, therefore I can slag them off as much as I want. That's how it works, right? Oh, Jesus. But anyway, popping on back into the Inferno, it's time to switch back to Banjo and Kazooie, and yeah, let's switch on back and finish up this world for the most part. We are actually getting pretty close to the end of this world now of what we can actually complete, so you know. I'm surprised I kept this in, because I think it's from the next point onwards I started cutting out a lot more backtracky stuff that you guys don't need to see. Like me going in and out of Mumbo's skull multiple times, I'm going to start cutting out a bit more, so, you know, just to make the playthrough a lot more smoother and a lot easier to get through, because otherwise, you know, it's going to be extra like 40-50 seconds of filler, and you know, no one wants filler. Filler isn't cool. I mean, that shit done my head in Dragon Ball Z. Ah, I will destroy the planet in 5 minutes. 10 episodes later. I can't mock it too much. I love Dragon Ball Z. It's one of my favorite things ever. But I digress. But anyway, this is the reason why we can't actually finish off this quest properly, is because this guy, this kid, this geezer, well, he needs to be carried back to his mother. We haven't got a skill yet that allows us to carry him, so we will be getting that, like, way at the very end of the game, give or take. But actually, I say that way late in the game, not the very end. I forget where we get the carrying ability, but trust me, we're not going to be doing this quest for a good long while. That's mainly what I'm getting at here, folks. But it's time for another instance of the speed up pad, ladies and gentlemen. And this is, I don't like this challenge. It's not so much hard as it is. I don't know what's the word I'm thinking of. Not really hard, but basically this challenge by here, we need to grab these speed up shoes and run all the way to the top of this tower as Kazooie alone. Now, what's the big problem with that, you might be wondering? Well, it's simple. You have these fire motherfuckers sliding down this sodding thing, going whee, with those big cheesy grins of theirs. And the problem with these things is they will blindside you, which means you have to sort of try and edge your way up this giant spiral mounting thing, if you will, as quick as possible while simultaneously dodging these things. So sometimes the jump doesn't work the way you want, so getting up here is really challenging, it's really annoying. I'm not a fan of this little challenge, but you know, just grab the Jiggy and Bob is your uncle, and you know, just to quickly reset, just kill yourself. One thing to make note of as well, whenever you are split up from Banjo and Kazooie put together, your health bar does go in half. You do halve your health whenever you're split up, so you do need to be careful of that as well. You will take, well, you won't take more damage, but you know, less damage will kill you basically, so you need to be extra careful of that. What can I tells ya? What can I tells ya? Indeed. But anyway, with that is it for this part, so thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish, people, and when we return next time, we'll start exploring a bit of Space Zone, of which you will. So yeah, hope you all enjoyed. Don't be sheepish. I'll catch you all then. Bye!